It's finally happened. After being in the hobby for a year and a half, we finally have ourselves an airbrush. So yeah, in this video, I've got my first ever airbrush and I figured we can just unbox this and have a play around with it, see how it feels to use, see if it's as scary and intimidating as I think and feel like it's going to be, and maybe try and put some paint on a Mini. I've got some models that we can play around with, some different colours, so just a pure experimentation. Someone who's never used an airbrush before, let's see, are they kind of as scary and hard as they seem? Full disclosure though, before we start, Gaahleri did send me this for free. They dropped me an email and were like, do you want this for free? No strings attached. Like, you don't have to put it in a video. You don't have to say anything good or bad about it. No money was exchanged or anything, but just full disclosure, they did send it to me for free. And also, being that this is the first airbrush I've ever used, this is not going to be like a review of this airbrush. This is just purely me playing around with an airbrush for the first time to see what it's like for someone who's never used one before and would like to see what they're like. Oh boy, here we are. I'm not going to lie to you, I am so nervous. I don't know why. First initial impression is a bit heavier than I thought, which is quite nice, you know? Gives it me, I feel like it's like, it gets a nice control. If it was really light, you could be like flying it around everywhere. And then the way it works is you push this button down to kind of like to turn it on, to start the spraying, I think, and then you pull it back to open like the nozzle up to then start releasing paint. Didn't really know that. Like, I didn't realize there was two parts to it. So I don't know why I first thought when I saw airbrushes, I thought it was just on. But no, yeah, it's kind of like you put it back, and I think obviously the more you pull back, the more paint, or the more it opens up the nozzle. There's like that's where the control is. I'm not really sure 100%. That's what we're going to be doing in this video, is playing around. Oh my god, here we go. It's plugged in. Oh boy, I'm nervous. So I've got no paint in there yet. The way I want to structure this video is 3 parts, I guess. So I want to do the first half. I just want to put some paint in this, kind of spray it, kind of get a feel for how the paint comes out and how it feels to use the brush. And then the second part is I want to try and prime a Mini. So just put some primer in to see if we can prime, where is he? This Terminator here. This is Chaos Terminator dude in, it'll be black, I believe. And then see if we can put some paint on him, some red paint. So I guess without further ado, I don't know why I'm so nervous to turn this on. Oh, okay, it's on. First things first, yeah, so when I press down on this thing at the top, air comes out, and then if I pull back, it makes a kind of noise. You can see the needle back here actually moves as I pull the thing. So it's kind of pulling the needle back and letting, I guess, more paint out. But there's no paint in there at the minute, so just... Okay, not as scary as I imagined. So I guess let's put some paint in this. Oh my god, wish me luck. Right, and here we are. So we've just got some Wasdaka red in the little mixing pot. I know you're supposed to mix it in like a metal tray or something, but hindsight's 2020, and I forgot to order one online. I'm way too impatient to wait. So I've just got this little silicone cupcake tray. I've put a dollop of Wasdaka red, and I've just put in some airbrush thinner. It looks way too thick, so put in a bit more. This is one thing I'm a little bit nervous about. Not nervous, but like, you know, just getting the right consistency. I feel like it's going to take a while to learn, especially because I'm going to have to be pouring it from this pot. I know some people I've seen just mix it straight into the airbrush, and I'd like to get there at some point, but for this first little trial period, let's just try and mix it in. So here we go, moment of truth. So we've got the airbrush still turned on and working. PSI is at 20, which I think is probably about right for an acrylic paint. I don't know. So let's see if we can pour it in. Oh god, I'm nervous. Well, that's definitely not enough paint in there, but we'll just try. So we just put it down, then back a little bit. Oh my god, look at that. Okay, I'll explain the letters in a minute. Just I wanted to, so this, I've done SM, small, medium and large. This is, I guess I want to experiment how much pulling back the nozzle works. So back here, we're going to pull the nozzle all the way back. Up here, a little bit. So let's try it all the way back. Oh wow, yeah. Okay, you get a lot there. Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, the further back you put it, so we do medium. Oh, so... Okay, there's a lot of splattering here, and you just saw a huge splatter there when I pressed it down. So if we push it down, yeah, you get initial little splatter. I'll be keen to work out what that is. But so far, not too bad. This is quite cool, you know. Okay, well, this experiment was a bit of a mess, but I do think I've got a good feel now for sort of how it works, how you get a bit of a spread, a bit smaller. I kind of worked out initially that we have this splatter. When I press the button down to start, there'll be a splatter. I think I've worked out what that is. It's when I'm lifting up the button when it's pulled back. So for example, I push it down, pull it back to release paint, and sometimes I was releasing the button back here. So I think that stores a little bit of paint in the entranceway or the start. So I guess to confirm that, some should come out now. Yeah, there we go, perfect, okay. We've learned a lesson already, success. So I guess when you're finished doing your paints, like you've done, okay, I've done a bit, you need to push the button forward and then open. And now there shouldn't be any on the splatter. Perfect, okay, yeah. I'm glad I put 3 sheets of paper on my desk because, yeah, I'm tearing through this. So just a little 2-minute first impression. I'm quite impressed, you know, like that was really fun. It was really cool to like see all the differences between how far back, I've got it here, how far back you pull the nozzle or the lever, sorry, how much you push it down, the distance. And it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Like I expected to spend like half an hour trying to get paint out the brush and it was going to be like splurging out or not working or fiddly settings. But honestly, just plug in, button down, go. I was quite surprised. Yeah, I'm quite excited now. I mean, I'm still really nervous to put paint in it, but first impressions, a lot easier than I thought it was going to be and kind of fun. Yeah, I'm very, very excited to see though, because I'm, I'm full of like motivation. I'm all excited now. I guarantee the second I like start getting a model and then spiderwebbing or splurting or getting it all over the place, that's just going to go away. And I'm going to be like, oh God, what have I done? But that is the next step. So let's go back down to the table and see if we can prime up a model. Oh yeah, right, time for the scary part. It's actually putting some paint on a model. So I've got my desk set up. I've had to put, I'll put a picture of it on the left just because it's an absolute state. I've had to put up a big black sheet. There's definitely something else to add to the long list of things I've forgotten, and that is like a little booth. Okay. Yeah, I've seen obviously people buying like the little booths to airbrush in. I definitely need to do that just because it'll be easier to set up. I've turned the the PSI, sorry, all the way up to 32, like quite high, because in the video I watched, that Miniac one, I'll leave a link for it in the description, along with some other videos I watched that really helped me. He said, yep, PSI up high for a primer because it's a thick paint, and also he doesn't thin it down. So I've just got here a bottle of, what is this? Kaleido acrylic primer. Oh, I'm scared. I also should probably be wearing gloves, but for this, it'll be fine for the first time. Just another thing in the long list of stuff I forgot to buy. Oh my God, that comes out quick. That's probably way too much, but we'll see how it gets on. So let's, I mean, I spilled it everywhere. Let's move this to one side and just spray a little bit on the, it seems really watery, like in the cup up here, like almost like water rush. Okay. Well, let's stop messing about. Seems right. Let's just try and put it on a Mini. Just quickly, that's looking really nice now. That's pretty, yeah, that was quick. It took like 4 or 5 seconds. Looks nice. And, oh, that's really clean. Oh no. That's like a really nice little primer base. Oh, okay, it's starting to click now. It makes sense. I guess also I can empty out this now. We can do a little bit of a clean together, because I did just go downstairs and empty out a cleaning bottle, like a spray. This is full of water, don't worry. But it's got a spray nozzle on, so I wonder if we can tip this away and then like spray it and clean it out. Because this is, oh, okay, yeah, that's loads better than whatever I was trying but last time. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, okay, so I'm just going to try and clean this out, and then what we can do when I come back is we can look at trying to put some red paint on this this red Corsair. Right, I know I said that it was the big one last time, but this I think is going to be the proper big section. So just need to mix up some corn red into this little cupcake holder. I think so far, out of everything we've done, this is my least favourite. Having to like mix a, oh, what was that thing? Having to mix some paint in like a separate pot and then like thin it, transfer it to an airbrush and stuff. It's a bit faffy. There must be a better way. Right, so I'm just going to try and over thin this out because this isn't, there we go. I want to make this really thin so it just falls into the airbrush. Just mixing that in. Yeah, look at that. It's almost falling off the side of the cake tray. So if we, I've not thought this through. There we go, it's not too bad. I fear it might be a little bit too thin. I don't know, there's only a little bit in there to be fair. So let's just try, oh God, the PSI needs to go down. Oh, that was close, I almost like blasted it out at 30. There we go, so that's what we want, just something like that. Oh, I'm quite scared. I guess we can start on this back bit back here. So, we've already, We've already spiderwebbed the ever-loving hell out of the back of that. Oh no. I guess we were applying too much like pressure, too close. That's blasted out spiderwebbing. It's also very thin. So I don't know if that's contributing to it as well as being too thin. It's alright if this gets messy. We can strip it and start again. Oh yes, this is spiderwebbing everywhere and it's way too thin and runny. So let's try and put some more thick paint in there. There we go. I thickened up a bit and I've also zoomed the camera in so you can see all my terrible spiderwebbing. Yeah, it's definitely like, I think it might be too thin. It's really like translucent and watery when it goes on. Let me try this side panel here as well and then we can, actually we'll do it on top because it's a big flat surface there, isn't it? I don't know, yeah, I don't know if maybe it's just too thin. Let's keep making it thicker and thicker and see how we get on. In fact, I'm just going to do the unholiest thing in the world and put it straight in the airbrush, just because I feel like the issue is it's really hard to pour it when it's really thick. So if I just kind of, there we go, like just put it straight into the airbrush and then we can sort of add a couple drops of thinner to it, straight in there. Okay. There we go. So 2 drops of thinner and then a big clump of paint. So I'd rather go to one extreme, go, okay, it's way too thin. Actually, maybe one more drop. There we go, just because like the last 2 have been way too thin. So let's just try and go to the other end. Just try and go a bit too thick maybe. So let's try blasting this. Let's try on the Mini again. Let's try on the back here. Maybe I'm just going too close. The PSI up too high? Maybe just go a bit down a bit. I mean, that's not too bad for like a base coat, but I want to try and leave some of the black in the recesses, which is why I was starting on these side panels. Maybe I'm pressing down too hard on this bit. That's a bit better. Still a little bit like thin and watery and spiderwebby. Let's just try doing a round. Let's do 1 coat actually. We'll just stick with the consistency and what we've got, and we'll try and do like 1 coat of this red. See how it dries and see what it's looking like. Right, that was an interesting experience, both a lot easier and a lot harder than I thought. So I definitely got some thoughts on this, trying to articulate myself. I feel like I'm high off paint fumes. I guess one thing I should mention is I'm not using a respirator for this video. I know you're meant to be use it and you should use one, and I will in the future. I did buy one, I've got one. I just thought for this first video, I just kind of want to get some like raw, as it's happening, thoughts. I thought it'd be fine to airbrush once without a mask, it'll be fine. But definitely in the future going forward, I'll use a respirator. I did buy one, like I've got one right. I mean, it's super zoomed in, but I have got one right here. I'm just not using it for this video, but in future videos, if I ever use an airbrush, I will definitely be, rocking this mask for safety. So this was, it was really awkward at first with the spider webbing. So on the back here, it was really unsmooth, really splattering about everywhere. I think the paint was way too thin. I definitely think in terms of just trying to get, if you're like trying to put a base coat on, just like I wanted corn red over all of it, man, this is a breeze. It's so quick and easy just to like spray all over. Trying to get, I don't know why I started with trying to get like targeted highlights or targeted areas and leaving recesses dark, because that feels like something that requires skill and experience, but I guess it's like jumping in the deep end, I guess. But I do feel like it's okay in some sections. So on this shoulder pad, it's really, really nice. Yeah, so you can kind of see just around there, like I didn't go down, so there's some recesses, black down there. Although I know I could also get the airbrush, put some black in and kind of put the shades in, but I kind of wanted to try what we normally do. And again, at the top here, there's some recesses left on that shoulder pad. On the fist, yeah, a few, but not too many. It's not that sort of robust on his chest. There's a couple recessed shades like on the knee down here. Not on that side, but on the inside. Yeah, so it was definitely really hard to get those targeted areas, like trying to just go for one section and be like, oh, I just want to, what have I got? Some tweezers. I just want like this bottom 2/3 to be red and the top to be black. It was really hard to get that control. I definitely think it was eye-opening and a lot interesting. I didn't expect it to be so like have so much control over where it was going from so far away. I thought if I wanted to target like a section like this, I would literally need to be like this close. But that was proper that was like really spider webbing and splattering. So I was kind of like going apart, even like this far away, and I was still managing to get a decent amount of control. So that was quite nice. Yeah, very interesting. I guess the next step now is to do the next stage of our red armor, which is that, but a bit more extreme. So we're going to get some Evil Sunz Scarlet and try and just do some highlights. So this should be quite interesting. I'm going to try and do very light touches, just a little bit on top, a little bit up here on the thing. So just kind of the upper facing section, some highlights. And then we'll do a once over spray of, what's it called? Evil Flesh Tearers Red. Yeah, that should be easier, just pouring a contrast in. So that's the Evil Sunz Scarlet like highlights applied. It's looking really nice, you know. Yeah, like real smooth in quotation marks, as smooth as it's going to be for my first ever dry airbrush. Some sections similar to the corn red, some are better than others. This shoulder's really nice, so like yeah, it's nice and bright on top, and then underneath it's like corn red and black. It's looking really good. The fist is looking okay. I like it on the front round here. There's still like a bit of a residue of some spider webbing I had earlier. And then this panel's really nice, actually. Yeah, nice smooth transition. This is going to stay black, actually, so I'm going to leave that. The chest in here is a little bit too bright red. There's not enough of that corn underneath. And then this knee was going so well, and I slipped a little bit too much pressure, and then it kind of spurted out. So what I want to do next is I want to follow the Red Corsair recipe we normally use with the sponge. And the next step is a coat of Flesh Tearers Red over all of it. Now, in theory, I shouldn't need to do this if I get good with the airbrush, because the Flesh Tearers softens the transitions between the Evil Sunz and the corn and kind of tints the black primer a bit more red. So like you'll see at the top, I guess, under here, it's kind of almost black in the bottom where the edge of the shoulder panel meets the trim. And that would become like a nice dark red with the wash of the Flesh Tearers. So I mean, like I said, technically, once I get really good at airbrushing, I shouldn't need to do this. But for the sake of experimentation, I kind of want to do the exact same steps that we normally do for the exact same steps we do for a Red Corsair. So this is one we've done with a brush. So I want to follow the exact same steps to see what the red armor looks like with an airbrush. But yeah, I'm just going to pour a little Flesh Tearers Red straight into the pot, no diluting it, and also I've turned the PSI way down. That's what's one of the videos I watched, Medicore Hobbies. He mentions, yeah, if you're using contrast paint, sorry, it's real low PSI because it's already really thin. You don't need to thin it out. You don't need a lot of pressure to push it out. So let's give this a go. Right, so unfortunately, actually, maybe more fortunately, my thoughts and my worries, or what I thought would happen, have happened. So I've put that layer of Flesh Tearers contrast over the whole Mini, and it has kind of washed away a lot of those transitions. And my thoughts were, the airbrush has a real nice soft transition between two colours, so I probably won't need the Flesh Tearers. But I thought I want to put it on anyway to see what happens, and yeah, it's kind of like just muddled it all up, made it a blob of the same colour, and washed away some of those transitions, which is good though, because that's what I thought would happen, and it's kind of confirmed my thought and my theory that when it comes to the airbrush, maybe the recipes you've used in the past with a brush, you don't just transfer over one to one. It's like just because I've done a recipe one way with a brush, you don't just go, okay, copy paste, do the exact same with an airbrush. Maybe it requires different colours or different transitions. So like, for example, maybe in the future if I did the airbrush on a Red Corsair, I would do the same corn red pretty much all over and trying to leave some of the recesses. black, and then I would do like Mephiston red, and then maybe tiny little spurts of Evil Suns on top. It's good, it's good. This whole video is a learning process, trying to sort of play around with the airbrush, experiment, and try and find out what we feel about it, how it works, do we like it, what don't we like and stuff. And yeah, it's quite cool to see, okay, yeah, it's like it does require a different approach to it. That's everything we wanted to do in this video. We played around with the airbrush, like just used it and got some paint out. We primed a Mini, did a base coat of Corn Red, some highlights of Evil Suns, and then we washed all of that away with some Flesh Tearers Red. And I've got some thoughts. First of all, this was really fun. Like I really, really enjoyed the whole experience of doing it. It was really fun to like learn something new and then also see how good a results you can get with such minimal like effort. Like it was just like, especially the base coats where there wasn't a lot of like dexterity required on the trigger, which we'll get onto in a second. But yeah, it was just a case of like picking up the Mini and just going prime, like for all the way back. It's like, yeah, it's fine. And then a base coat the same, just all over. So that was really, really cool just to see like if you had 10 Minis and you're like, I just want to base coat prime them all, you could get that done real quick and also get a good result. So that's really, really cool. And then when I was using it to do the highlights on the Evil Suns, and I was like trying to get close and the control and really mess around with that, that was like, oh, as it started to click, I was like, oh, this is really fun. And I was getting ideas of like, where can I go with this? What more can I do? So like I did between that Red Corsair and this filming section, I did grab a little Hellblaster I've got, and I put some like white paint just on the plasma, just to be like, I wonder what it's like, because I've seen, that's like one of the main things I keep seeing, is people doing plasma glow effects like OSL. So I was like getting close, kind of trying it out, and I was like, oh, it's quite cool to get like real targeted sections and that side. So the ball was rolling in my head and I was like, oh, these cool ideas to do. So yeah, it was really fun. And then I feel like there's a lot of like ways to go with it. It feels quite deep. One thing I didn't expect though was where the skill in this lies. I think one of the things I've always thought about airbrushes is they're kind of a little bit not cheaty, because that feels really bad to say, but like whenever I see it, it looks so easy. You just like spray and you get these incredible highlights and stuff. I didn't expect like this button, the dexterity of like pushing this down like a little bit or back a little bit, like the control of the trigger to be like where a lot of the skill is. Because I do think that is, yeah, when you're like applying these like little highlights, like the distance as well. All of this being like where the skill is was a surprise. I didn't expect it. And that was a lot more difficult than I thought. I definitely think that's kind of undone my preconceived notions. I don't know what the word is. It washed away that whole thought of airbrush is easy and it's cheating. And I've definitely got rid of that. So there is a skill to it. I don't think it's as hard as some people think though. Like I know a lot of people are really intimidated by an airbrush. And I think after using it, just in terms of the brush itself and the use of it, I think it's a lot easier than a lot of people might think it is and a lot more accessible. I do think though, the inaccessible or the downside of it, I guess one is the cost, which is rich coming from me because I didn't pay for this, I got it for free. But I was looking into the cost of a compressor and a brush and then all the extra bits like a respirator, a cleaner, thinner, the little spray thing, like all of that. It gets really expensive, like it really racks up. So I definitely think it is something to consider how expensive it is. I will say, like I said, the result is really good, but it's just quite expensive. So that's something to consider. And also, I guess one downside I had with it was it's a lot of faff setting it up and packing it down. I don't have a lot of space in my office. Like behind me, you can see just here, this is where all my paints go. Like I've got the compressor now, palettes, paints, everything down here, because I don't have a lot of space in my office. It's just my desk, which I work and play video games at. And then when I paint, I take off like everything and put stuff down. So I think if you've not got a lot of space to leave like a booth and a compressor set up, it's worth considering, because I think I filmed myself setting it up and it took about 4 or 5 minutes, which isn't too bad. That's all right. But the packing it down was a nightmare. So I started filming it. I took maybe about 5-10 minutes to like pack it all away, but then cleaning out the airbrush took ages because I got some like thick clumpy paint in it. So I had to I was recording it and I turned it off because I was getting really paranoid and stressed. I took the whole airbrush apart. I was like cleaning it in, taking the needle out, honestly, I took the whole thing apart because I was really stressed because it was getting clogged with paint. And I spent about 40 minutes like packing everything down, cleaning out the airbrush, putting it away. Whereas obviously that's my fault for putting clumpy paint in. But obviously if you just want to use a paintbrush, it's just, I don't know, grab a pot, grab a brush and then just go. It's like a 2-minute setup and pack down. So I think the cost and like the setting up and packing it down and the commitment is a bit of a downside. I guess one thing I do really, really want to know is what people's opinions on airbrush content are. Obviously, I watch a lot of Warhammer content online, and I know that people don't like airbrushes. Like whenever you get an airbrush out in a tutorial, people either just switch off, or when I'm looking through comments, people are just like, oh, please show me one without an airbrush. Like, I know they're not liked. So I'd be keen to know if you're like, no, I don't want to see this, put it away. Or if maybe you're thinking about buying an airbrush, or you're just curious and you're like, oh no, I want to see you use the airbrush to try out this 1 or 2 specific things. Like I definitely want to do some comparison videos, like grab like a makeup sponge and an airbrush and be like, let's paint the 2 same models and see like the differences, stuff like that. But I'd be keen to know what people's opinions are, because yeah, I know it's a very decisive tool, but I can't lie, I was really enjoying it and having a lot of fun. And like I'm thinking now, like, well, like I mentioned, I got this black Templar that I primed up, and I'm like, I want to try doing some like little spot highlights of like greys and stuff and whatnot. So yeah, I'm keen to know what people think, because it's a very decisive tool, but it is quite fun and interesting. And I guess, like I mentioned, if I can help you guys out decide whether you do want one or don't want one, or want to see what they're like for different situations, let me know, because I'm always willing to try absolutely anything. But as always, thank you for watching. Thank you to everybody who supports the channel via Patreon. There's a link in the description. These are lovely people who get their names in the credits. And if you want to join the Discord, that's completely free. There's a link down there as well. Just to get to chat, share pictures of what I'm working on, and I love to see what you guys are working on. It's really cool. But as always, thank you for watching. Drop a like and subscribe, and tune in next time. Bye!